Can I figure out if Heather Locklear and Lorenzo Lamas are really back together after their engagement drama? That question has been floating around entertainment discussions in a way that feels almost unavoidable once you notice it. It is not just about two familiar names from television history. It is about how celebrity narratives are built, how they evolve, and how easily they can drift away from verified reality into a space shaped mostly by curiosity, nostalgia, and online interpretation. Heather Locklear has long been one of those rare television figures whose presence defined an entire era of primetime drama. Her roles in major series made her instantly recognizable, and her career has remained part of pop culture conversations for decades. Lorenzo Lamas, similarly, carved out his place in television history through iconic roles that audiences still remember, especially from long-running dramatic series that helped define 80s and 90s entertainment. Both individuals are not new to public attention. They have lived much of their lives in front of audiences who followed not only their careers, but also their personal milestones. That kind of visibility creates a unique dynamic. Even when life moves forward privately, the public memory of it never fully fades. And that is exactly where the current wave of speculation begins. At first, the idea of Heather Locklear and Lorenzo Lamas reconnecting again sounds like a classic Hollywood what-if scenario. Two recognizable figures with shared history, both having experienced long and complex personal journeys, suddenly linked again through rumor cycles that suggest something might be happening behind the scenes. But when you slow the narrative down and examine how the rumor actually spreads, it becomes less about confirmed events and more about fragments of interpretation. It often starts small, a mention in a social post that references one of them, a resurfaced photo from years ago, a fan comment suggesting they would look good together again, or sometimes just algorithm-driven content that reintroduces old celebrity connections to new audiences who were not even following the original timeline. From there, the speculation begins to grow, because in modern celebrity culture, repetition often feels like reinforcement. The more a pairing is mentioned, the more it begins to feel like something active, even if nothing new has actually happened. This is how rumor ecosystems form, not from new facts, but from recycled attention. As discussions around Heather Locklear and Lorenzo Lamas continue, different interpretations emerge. Some fans approach the idea with excitement, imagining a second-chance storyline. Others remain skeptical, pointing out that there has been no confirmed statement from either party indicating a renewed romantic relationship. And that gap between excitement and evidence is where the entire conversation lies. Supporters of the rumor often frame it through the lens of nostalgia. They remember earlier eras of television when both actors were highly visible, and they associate that period with emotional familiarity. In that context, the idea of them reconnecting feels almost symbolic, a continuation of stories that once felt very present in popular culture. For those individuals, the rumor is less about facts and more about possibility. It is a narrative they enjoy imagining. On the other side, more grounded observers emphasize the importance of confirmation. They point out that in celebrity reporting, absence of official statements usually means there is no verified development. Without clear evidence such as public appearances confirming a relationship or direct statements from the individuals involved, the story remains in the realm of speculation. This tension between belief and verification is not unique to this situation. It is a recurring pattern in entertainment media as a whole. What makes this particular case interesting is how quickly small signals can escalate into widespread discussion. A single ambiguous interaction online can be interpreted in multiple ways. A vague reference can be reframed as hidden meaning. And past relationships, even ones that ended long ago, can be reintroduced into current narratives as if they are still actively relevant. In the case of Heather Locklear and Lorenzo Lamas, their shared history becomes a foundation that rumor culture continuously revisits. Even when years pass, that history remains available as raw material for speculation. But history alone is not evidence of present reality. That distinction is often blurred in online discussions. As the rumor spreads, media platforms sometimes amplify it further, not necessarily by confirming anything, but by framing it as a question. Headlines that ask whether celebrities are back together often generate more engagement than those that simply state no confirmation exists. This structure encourages audiences to participate in the guessing process. And once people start guessing collectively, the narrative takes on momentum of its own. Comment sections become discussion boards. Fan pages become theory hubs. Old interviews get reanalyzed for hidden meaning. Even silence becomes something interpreted rather than simply accepted. Meanwhile, both Heather Locklear and Lorenzo Lamas remain largely private in relation to the specific rumor. And that privacy creates even more space for speculation. In the absence of clear updates, audiences tend to fill the gaps with interpretation, rather than waiting for clarification. This is not unusual. It is actually one of the most consistent patterns in celebrity culture. Uncertainty invites narrative expansion. The more unclear something is, the more people try to define it. And in doing so, the story grows far beyond its original boundaries. Another important layer to this situation is how public perception of relationships changes over time. When people revisit figures from earlier entertainment eras, there is often a blending of past and present identity. Audiences remember them not as static individuals, but as characters within an ongoing cultural memory. That memory can create assumptions. If two people were once linked in any meaningful way, the idea of reconnecting can feel plausible even decades later, regardless of current reality. This is especially true when both individuals remain recognizable figures in public consciousness. But real life does not operate on narrative convenience. Relationships evolve independently of audience expectations. People change, circumstances shift, and personal decisions are often made far away from public visibility. Despite that, speculation persists because it offers something simple: a story that feels familiar. As the discussion continues, it becomes clear that the rumor is sustained less by evidence and more by engagement. Each time the topic is discussed, it gains another layer of visibility. Each time it is questioned, it gains another layer of curiosity. In this way, the question itself becomes the content. Are they together? Are they not? Is there something happening privately? Or is it all just interpretation layered over silence? These questions repeat because they do not have definitive answers available to the public. And without answers, interpretation fills the space. For fans, this creates a split experience. Some enjoy the speculation as entertainment, treating it as part of the broader celebrity landscape. Others feel frustrated by the lack of clarity, wanting either confirmation or closure so the narrative can settle. But celebrity culture rarely offers closure quickly. Instead, it cycles. Old stories resurface, new rumors form, and attention shifts while never fully disappearing. In that sense, the conversation around Heather Locklear and Lorenzo Lamas is less about one specific rumor and more about how modern audiences interact with celebrity information in general. It is about how quickly speculation spreads, how easily history is reinterpreted, and how strongly people are drawn to unresolved narratives. Even without confirmation, the idea of them being back together continues to circulate because it sits at the intersection of familiarity and uncertainty. It is easy to imagine, even if it is not confirmed. And in the attention economy of entertainment media, that is often enough to keep a story alive. So where does that leave things? It leaves the situation exactly where most celebrity rumor cycles eventually land, in a space without resolution. There is interest, there is discussion, there is interpretation, but there is no confirmed statement or verified evidence that definitively establishes the rumor as fact. And that is the key point that often gets lost in the noise. Because while the question keeps getting asked, the answer has not changed. It remains unconfirmed. And until something clearly stated replaces speculation, the story continues to exist in that familiar in-between space where celebrity culture often lives somewhere between memory, curiosity, and imagination. So when people ask whether Heather Locklear and Lorenzo Lamas are really back together after all the engagement drama, the most accurate response is not a dramatic reveal or hidden truth. It is simply that the conversation itself has become the story. And for now, that is all there is to it. Thanks for the watching and subscribe.